Have y'all ever considered using zucchini as flour, as an alternative to flour? Because our zucchini is fantastic, and because it's already freeze-dried, it powders up beautifully in a blender, and you can substitute it one for like a coconut flour. And in today's recipe, I'm going to show you how to make a low-carb zucchini crust pizza as a meal in a jar. Y'all know I'm always up to something. Hey y'all, I'm Kareth. Welcome to the Freeze-Dried Foodie. The concept of zucchini as a quote flour is pretty new to me. I saw it on a low-carb website and I thought, oh, that's a great idea. But when I tried to find recipes that used the flour, I really couldn't find any other than for zucchini bread. So I researched how to make a regular low-carb zucchini-based pizza crust with like regular zucchini, and then I converted that into a zucchini flour recipe. So in other words, I made this up. This is a Kareth original, and I think it turned out great. It definitely has some zucchini flavor in the crust. I mean, it doesn't taste like a yeasted dough or anything, but I enjoy zucchini, and I don't mind it as a low-carb substitute. So if you like something like zoodles, I think you're gonna like this one. I am using a quart-sized jar to put all of this stuff in. But before I put it in the jar, I'm going to blend several things for this recipe today. I'm using 2 kinds of cheese in the crust. I'm using mozzarella and cheddar. The mozzarella has a nice mild flavor, and the cheddar has a little bit more flavor to it, and I like the combination of both of them. And I pulse them in the blender, and you need to do that because you want them to refresh really quickly, and it will take too long to refresh if you didn't pulse them in the blender. So go ahead and blend those up. And I did want to flavor the crust. You know, you don't want it to just taste like zucchini. So I put some Italian type seasonings in there, onion powder, garlic powder, freeze-dried basil, and salt. The eggs here serve as the binder. And then I'm using 2 full cups of our zucchini to make the flour. So I put that into my big blender. And see, the freeze-dried zucchini, it just powders beautifully in that blender. So it really does turn into something that just resembles flour. It will soak up water or moisture really well. So it works great. All right, now I'm done with the crust ingredients. Now I'm starting on the toppings. So you can put whatever toppings you want on your pizza. I'm making a supreme, so I've got meat, I've got veg, but you could do whatever you like. I mean, you could do all vegetable pizza or all meat. You could store some shelf-stable bacon, shelf-stable pepperoni next to your jar. It's totally up to you. I'm doing 2 kinds of meat, 2 kinds of bell peppers, mushrooms, onions, and I just like all of it. I do suggest a lot of toppings because you want to give this pizza plenty of pizza flavor. Go to town, pick a lot of toppings, and put them in your jar. Now this Thrive Life tomato sauce, it's yummy, but it's not very low carb. So if you're really carb conscious, I would suggest you use just a jarred sauce like a Rayo's brand marinara or something like that. But you can use this if you like, and I enjoyed it. And this is the jar that you could store on your pantry shelf and just keep it for whenever you need it. I have several pizza recipes on my channel. I'll link them in the description box below in case you want to do a different type of crust. I've got a low-carb tortilla crust pizza and a regular pizza crust in a skillet, as well as a gluten-free one. So I'll link those below. When you're ready to make this, you're going to want to get out three different things: a medium-sized bowl, a medium-sized skillet, and a container with some hot water in it. So your tomato sauce powder goes straight into the hot water, and then you stir that up, and that's all there is to it. That's the sauce. You don't even have to add any seasonings to it. It's really yummy. But it will be a little bit thick and kind of clumpy at first, but it dissolves with some stirring. All right, next in your jar is the pizza toppings, and I just dumped that bag into a skillet and set it to the side because I really wanted to get to the crust first. Into a medium-sized bowl, I dumped all of the crust ingredients, and then I'm going to add just half a cup of hot tap water to that. That's all you need, is half a cup. And at first you're going to think, oh, that's not enough water. But it really is. Just be patient, stir, and you'll see how quickly that zucchini flour soaks up that water, and the cheese doesn't need much liquid in order to refresh. So that's really all the liquid you need is half a cup, and you'll just stir that, and there you have it. That's the crust. That's the dough for the crust. And it does need a little bit of time to refresh. That cheese needs to soften so it doesn't just burn in the oven. Give it about 10 minutes or so. I covered it with plastic wrap and just set it to the side. Meanwhile, I got my pizza pan ready. I'm using a pizza stone, and I do suggest that you use parchment paper. Whatever kind of pan you get, put some parchment paper on it because we have a bunch of cheese in this crust and it'll tend to stick if you don't line your pan with parchment paper. Now it's time to shape the crust. So I just got out a spatula and I shaped it into something that resembled something round. Mine was kind of oval shape. You want it pretty good and thin. Mine was between 10 and 12 inches diameter. I kind of tried to do a little bit of an edge, a crust edge. And then I baked that at 350 for about 18 minutes. And while that bakes, you can get your toppings ready. Now, this is an optional step. I like to do it because I like the taste of sauteed vegetables, but you don't have to do this. All you really need to do is put those toppings into a bowl and add some hot water, stir it and let it sit. That's really all you need to do because the meat's already cooked. The vegetables are going to be raw, but they're fine to put on a pizza just like that once they're refreshed. But I prefer the taste of sauteed vegetables, so I go ahead and refresh mine in water, let that water cook off, and then I saute them in some oil. Olive oil or avocado oil, some sort of oil. And this is a preference thing. This is just how I like my toppings. I like them better when they're sauteed. So that's what I chose to do. Meanwhile, the crust is ready, and this is what you're looking for, a good brown crust. But here's a very important step. You need to cool the crust. Let it cool for 10 minutes at least. Let it cool because you want that cheese to harden and form a barrier against the moisture of the sauce. That way your crust doesn't get too soggy. Now I'm adding regular shredded cheese from the refrigerator because I had some I needed to use up, but you could totally use freeze-dried mozzarella here. Just put it in a little jar next to your pizza jar. About a cup of mozzarella is all you're going to need. All right, I suggest using lots of toppings because this pizza needs to taste like pizza. The way it will taste like pizza is if you put a bunch of things on top of it. So I'm going to suggest that whatever flavors you like on your regular pizza, do on this pizza. I'm talking lots of meat and vegetables. I'm putting some extra Parmesan cheese. That is Italian seasoning. I'm also putting some red pepper flakes and a good drizzle of extra virgin olive oil. All of those things are going to help your pizza taste more like pizza and less like zucchini pizza, if you know what I mean. So bake that at 400 degrees Fahrenheit for another 10 minutes or so till your toppings are all melted and browned. And that is what you have after it bakes. Isn't that lovely? It's a beautiful pizza. And after a couple minutes, you can slice that up. I love a ranch drizzle on my pizza, so that's what I put on here. And I also had a good amount of basil out in my container out back, so I put fresh basil and the ranch drizzle. And y'all, this turned out so good. And I wanted to show you, it is pick-upable. It's a little bit floppy. You might have to use 2 hands, but it is pick-upable. And see the bottom of the crust? It kind of browns the bottom, the cheese and the zucchini. It's really a crust. It's a pizza crust, believe it or not. Yummy, yummy, yummy. It's delicious. This pizza fed 2 of us, and it was fantastic. Highly recommend. So if you want to try something that's gluten-free and low carb, this is a good option for you. All right, guys, I will include the full recipe in the description box below, as well as my shopping link in case you want to pick up some of this zucchini or the toppings or the eggs or anything Thrive Life you see in my videos. If you click on my shopping link, I will earn a small commission at no extra cost to you. All right, guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate you. God bless you. And until next time, y'all, take care and keep thriving.